Hi guys, welcome back to the WeeBS Show, a show where weebs talk about being weebs. If you haven't watched our first episode yet, go do that now. It will explain who we are and what this podcast is going to be about. Other than that, welcome back to the WeeBS Show. I feel like that was a little bit redundant. Was that redundant, you guys?
Hey, the people who've been around get 2 hellos.
Yes, 2 hellos.
Every episode we doubled the number of hellos.
Oh no.
Oh my god, no.
We need to keep track of that. We need to keep track of how many hellos in order to do that. So
for every episode you use it as a to the power of. So it's 2 to the power of how many episodes?
Oh gosh, so the third episode I have to say hello 8 times?
Yes. How dare you make me do math?
I am art student. What is math, please?
Agree.
Hi, welcome to the accounting student where I do math all the time.
Okay, you're our accountant now. You're in charge of all that stuff.
Our treasurer.
Our treasurer.
I might need to talk to you about sponsorships or something like that. How would we get money?
Okay, forward me the emails and then that would be a great thing.
Nice.
I will talk about break-even points and stuff like that if you need it. I've taken financial, managerial, intro, and I'm taking an advanced capstone class.
Gen Zeebs. We are so broke we can't even afford an actual accountant, but we got an accounting student and that's—
How dare you?
Hey, I don't think you have your certification yet, okay? You can—
No, but I'm still accounting student.
Okay, hold
Better
on.
than nothing.
Hold on. The audio cut out and it sounded like you said Gen Zeebs.
I wish we came up with that before. That would have been a great name for this podcast. Dang it.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is it too late to change it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we just call this episode Gen Zeebs?
Gen Zeebs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I technically don't have like a title for this episode, so we can—
Oh, there you go.
Gen Zeebs. Write down in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. Should we change our name to Gen Zeebs? Anyways, for those of you who didn't bother to see episode 1 and don't know who we are a bunch of adult Gen Zers. I'm Carri, and I'm here with my other hosts, Synthia.
Hi.
Nexter, and Alex.
Hey.
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 We are still learning about all this, just like everything.
Did you skip over me?
No,
Yes.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
The accountant, introduce yourself. Jordan.
Hi.
I just introduced for you.
Thank you, Alex.
Jordan's so important that they get their own intro. They don't have to introduce themselves.
Wow.
I feel so important, but then I feel bad.
No, I guess the most important one here, you know math.
Yeah.
I am a gay person that does math. How is that is an anomaly in itself?
You're a
Witch.
Burn the witch.
You're a paradox.
I know, right?
Amazing. Anyway,
I know science. That's about it.
so long as you know that the Earth is not flat, you're good to go, bud.
No. I know human anatomy science.
Okay,
Oh.
that
You
is
think
so
the
important.
Earth is flat?
Okay, who got that from the conversation?
What?
Is the Earth flat?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going off a little bit off topic. So in this episode today, we are going to talk a little bit more about our experiences with the anime culture. In other words, what was it like growing up as a weeb? I know, it's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And for those listeners, we're still calling them listeners, right?
Yeah.
Probably, since
Okay.
they are
Present mic reference right there.
So for those listeners who don't know, all 5 of us, we actually don't live near each other, unfortunately.
Or do we?
Raised in different— Nexter, don't tell me you live next door right now.
You don't know that. You don't know where I live. Could be in your attic. You don't know.
I don't even have
Could be in all your attics.
possible.
You know, if you lived in my attic, you'd probably fall through the ceiling.
Ooh.
You don't know how big I am. Maybe I'm very small. Maybe I lied earlier. Maybe I'm only an inch tall.
Anyways, all 5 of us, we actually live in different parts of the U.S. Jordan and I, we both live in California, but different parts. Cynthia, I believe you live in Mississippi, or was it Louisiana? Mississippi.
But I masked my accent. Hold up. Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia. This is my actual accent, but I tend to mask it because I hate my accent.
I love your accent.
I love your accent. So
Very
exotic.
It's charming.
Yeah, Cynthia's from Mississippi, next door, I believe. I don't know which state you're from, but I know it's a Mormon state. And then
Yep, I'm in Utah.
Utah. And then
Yeah, I kind of
you are from the
expected
land
that.
of gritty.
Oh no.
Is it weird that I find gritty kind of attractive?
Yes.
So sorry, Alex.
What about me? What?
Something about being attracted to gritty.
Why was I involved?
Because I said that you are from the land of gritty, and then I went on a whole tangent of like how I find gritty kind of attractive.
The land of gritty?
And I got something I need to send to you real quick.
What do you
Oh, God.
mean?
Well, anyways, it's pretty obvious we are from different parts of the U.S., and therefore we have very different experience on what it's like to be a weeb growing up where we're from. And so we decided to spend this episode talking about what it's like growing up as a weeb in our respective areas. Now, of course, huge disclaimer, not all experiences are the same. Like, you know, say somebody in California may have an experience compared to me and Jordan, but these are our experience, and hopefully you guys can relate to them. Anybody want to spill some tea or what it's like to be a weeb?
Let me go ahead and go first because my face hurts.
That's a valid
growing
excuse.
Up in, valid
That's a valid
excuse.
excuse.
Okay. Let me just go over this before I even begin, in case our listeners didn't know. I have grease burns all over my face, so it kind of hurts to talk, and I work in a restaurant. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, growing up in Mississippi, you don't find a lot of anime stuff. We used to have a bookstore. It closed. We used to have a Blockbuster. It closed. We have a couple of game shops, but they're barely hanging on. So trying to find anime stuff in general is a pain in the butt.
Totally right.
I got introduced to anime through a friend of mine who is no longer a friend. And then I kind of pirated it off the internet for several years. And then I found out that we had a Comic-Con that comes around every summer. And it's a 2-day event, and I go one of the 2 days for a couple of hours. And I soak up all of the anime that I can while I'm there. Anyway, I wanted to learn Japanese. I know a little bit, not too much. I can understand it better than I can speak it. And because of this, I got a job at a Japanese restaurant where I work with food all day and I can't eat it. And I just answer the phone because it's kind of hard to understand the owners because they're not from America. So they have me answering the phone and taking orders because people can understand me better than they can understand them. But yeah, that's my story. There's no anime here. Like, you have to go above and beyond to find it.
I think like if one thing's for sure, the internet really helped us like introduce what anime really is, because I feel like like you mentioned with the bookstore and Blockbusters, if you guys don't know what Blockbuster is, please Google it.
Oh my gosh. I forgot.
If you don't know what it is,
Family
you're too
Video.
young to be
Know what those are.
listening to this.
They don't know what Blockbuster is. They're gonna be so lost when we start talking
Yeah,
about
I didn't have
VHS.
Blockbuster. I had Family Video, and it's still there to this day.
Ooh.
Hey, so did we. Until it closed, like 2 months after the Blockbuster closed.
Aw. F's for the Blockbusters and the family videos. There you were.
Yeah.
F.
F.
F indeed.
F in the chat.
So Cynthia, I know that when you first like got into anime, your first anime was Black Butler, and then I guess later on you got introduced to Soul Eater and whatnot.
Yeah.
What like at what point did you like realize that wait a minute, I could also cosplay these? Because I feel like for all of us who also cosplay, like we watch anime first, and then we're like, wait a minute, I want to be just like that character.
Okay, so funny story about that. Now that you bring it up, I was actually cosplaying before I even knew what anime was. I was a Harley Quinn cosplayer. Only and I wasn't very big into the comics at the time. I only did it because somebody was like, you know, you could pull off Harley Quinn really well, and so I got interested. And I figured out who Harley Quinn was, and I watched all of the Batman animated series, all of the Batman movies, read not all of them. I have a bunch of the Harley Quinn comics, and I got obsessed with Harley Quinn. And it wasn't until my first Comic-Con that I realized that there was more than just Harley Quinn and comic book characters.
Ooh.
There was a Junko Inoshima who I simped over the entire time.
Oh my gosh, drop the ad. Maybe we can sip over them too.
Send the cat.
Well, the thing is, it was Comic-Con, and I was like 13,
Oh.
and I was nervous. I didn't talk to her.
Oh, well, there's a Junko cosplayer who may have recognized a young Synthia. That's probably you. We love you, and Synthia also loved you too.
Yes.
Yes. So Mississippi Weeb. That's kind of the experience that was going on there.
Yeah.
Were you like what? How do I word this? I don't know how to word this at all. I remember you also mentioned that like when you like prior to like middle school, like being a weeb was kind of like ill. What are you doing? And then suddenly, like if you knew what anime is, you were the coolest kid on the block or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in elementary school, I had just got like it was my 6th grade year. I had just gotten into Black Butler, so I don't think I was overly pushy with people saying, "Hey, you should check this out. It's pretty cool." But people knew because I had a phone back then and I had YouTube. And I could watch Black Butler in class. I never got in trouble for it. I basically owned my elementary school. That's another story. But yeah, so I never got in trouble. I had passing grades, so nobody ever really cared. It wasn't until my 7th grade year that anime almost got me in trouble. And it was because I was going through a really tough time at the time, and I didn't care what anybody told me to do. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to watch my TV and stay quiet and stay out of the way. And so people started bullying me for it. And then once I get to high school, everybody was like, "Oh my God, I've heard about this show, but I don't know where I can find it." And so I'd just pop up out of nowhere and be like, "Honey, it's on Netflix." Bye. And so then I became the most popular girl in school.
I thought for a second, like they were like, "Where can I buy this?" And then you would be in a trench coat and pull out, like pirated copies. You'd be like, "Ha, you want the good stuff? It's gonna cost you."
I feel like I knew someone who did that, but I can't remember who.
Wait, what?
That just sounds like something someone I know would do. Like, I feel like I've met someone before who's done something like that, but I don't remember who it was.
That would be
Nice.
a really weird alternate universe where anime is kind of like a drug, and you would have anime drug dealers just
That
standing.
sounds like a really good anime.
Yeah.
Somebody
Can I get some of that good Black Butler stuff, and I can upgrade myself to a Hitalia?
yo,
No. It's like a premium membership, right? And you got different levels. So it's like gold is like the lowest, and then you have silver, platinum, diamond, and like if you just get the gold standard, you get these couple of animes. But as you get different memberships, you get more and more animes.
I can't believe anime's an MLM now.
Oh my god!
MLM. I'm just imagining.
By
like,
the way,
somebody-
by the way, anyone who's thinking MLM as in men loving men, no, we're talking about multi-level marketing.
Multi-level men.
Yeah, gotta climb up and slowly get to the better men.
Yeah.
Well,
Men
that's
loving
actually
marketing.
dating. That's what dating is essentially.
Men loving marketing.
I mean, then again, capitalism is mostly run by men, and like the shit that we have to deal with capitalism is because of men.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Man world, I mean,
Really good at staying on subject.
Yeah.
we are. But that's like really awesome with how like in Mississippi that was kind of the thing with sort of anime and whatnot. Usually
Mhm.
curious, like has anybody also kind of experienced that like flow of like at first anime was like something where it's like, oh, you like that thing? Like, ew, and then suddenly it just became really popular, like or something later on in life. Have any of you guys also experienced that too?
Oh, I have definitely. Yeah.
Ooh. Alex, tell us more about it.
So it wasn't said earlier, but I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So basically in middle school, whenever I got into anime, Bleach was my first anime. I was pretty much the only kid in the school. Maybe there was one or two others that knew about it, but they never talked about it. And I was pretty bullied for it. You know, people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so weird." So I never really talked about it. And then I transferred schools whenever I got to high school, and I found out, you know, there was a bunch of people there who actually did like anime, and luckily I became friends with them. But at that time, whenever I was just getting to high school, my mom's coworker was this like mid-20s guy, and he's like, "Oh, you got to go to Techo. Got to go to Techo Shown." And I'm like, "What the heck is that?" He's like, "It's a convention for anime." And I was like, "No, that doesn't exist." And he was like, "Yeah, no, it exists." And so he decided for a day to take me, and I experienced conventions, and I didn't cosplay, but I got to witness a bunch of people, you know, cosplaying and, you know, being immersed in it and everything. And then whenever I got into high school, my friends were cosplayers, and so they were like, "Oh, you should cosplay." And so my freshman year of high school, I cosplayed for the first time as Levy McGarden from Fairy Tale. And from there, the hole just got deeper and deeper and deeper, and it continues to. So, I mean, when you live in a city with as big as a convention as like Techo, for instance, a lot of people from all over like the north kind of flock to this convention because it is pretty big. And not only that, but if if you are in a realm of like anime and stuff like that, it ends up branching to other things. And unfortunately, another thing Pittsburgh is known for is the furry conventions. We have one of the largest furry conventions in America, which happens in Pittsburgh. And just every year around a certain time, you just see a bunch of people in furry outfits on the news. And it's just like, good for them. I'm not a part of this, but they look like they're having fun. And I mean, there's a bunch of kids that like, a bunch of parents like bring their kids to like meet people because they have like a small parade of it. And like the kids love it because they're just giant animals that are colorful. But living in a city where something like Techo has been happening for, I mean, it was happening before I was in 8th grade, I believe. So it's pretty popular, and it's kind of like around that time, people are like, oh yeah, anime. And then as soon as the convention is over, they're like, what? What's anime? So it is popular where I'm from, even back during that time. But as soon as the convention was over, nobody really talked about it unless you were in your groups. And now because of social media, and especially because of quarantine and stuff, I think anime has become so much popular on a scale that I never thought I'd see. And again, I'm just like, okay, why aren't y'all being bullied now because of it?
You said that.
Yeah, so it can be very different when you live in an area that has a huge convention. Because I've been going to like even Colossal Con, which is in Sandusky, Ohio, for a while. I haven't been to a convention in 4 years now, though, because college eats my money. So
Yeah.
but it can be very different when you're living in a city as opposed to like the middle of nowhere. So
Yeah.
When you said that y'all had a furry con, I was like, oh my God. But like, fun fact about me, I'm terrified of mascots. And if I saw a furry, I'd turn around and run the other direction.
That's understandable.
Not because the suit scares me. I was 6 when I found out about the Bunnymund Massacre, which is a mascot massacre, and I have never liked mascots since. I was 8 years old at Disney World and terrified of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I don't remember what the convention was. I'm sure if you look up Pittsburgh FurryCon, you'll find it. But I mean, it gets larger and larger and larger every year. Of course, not right now, but like.
Yeah.
When you said furry and convention, I immediately thought of rainforest.
Oh no!
Oh my God, rainforest.
Okay,
no, we're not bringing that up here.
I was so worried of people not knowing what it was. But please look it up on Internet Historian if you're ever curious, for our listeners, because he does a great job of explaining what it is and the disaster.
If furries can wear a full suit for 6 to 12 plus hours, you can wear a mask during this time.
Yeah,
1000% agree.
You're more incompetent than a furry.
That needs to be a poster for this time. It's like, if you think
You should get a mask that just says that on it.
Yeah.
If a furry can wear a suit for 8+ hours, you can wear a mask.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can like relate a little bit to Alex being. Well, I'm also from a big city too. Although I'm from the other coastline. I'm from the West Coast, California. Yay! So
Yay!
Yay! Yeah, Jordan and I are both from California, but different parts of California. Yeah. So for where I'm from, is a very like not only populated, but it's also the majority of people who actually live there, or at least like in the bubble that I live in, are actually Asian. And so pretty much growing up, everyone knew what anime was, but there was this sort of idea where it's like when you were younger, like there's the association of anything that's like 2D animation or 3D is associated for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you start going to like middle school and high school and you were like, I want to be an adult, like if you liked anime, like everyone knew like what anime was, but like if you like were one of those people who were like, yeah, I like anime, all I talk about is anime, aka me, you were kind of made fun of, and like you were kind of seen as like, wow, you're being a bit immature. And I don't know if you guys like watch SNL, but there was this skit that was made a while ago on SNL. It's called J-Pop America Fun Time Now. I don't
Oh,
know.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, basically it's the sketch that made fun of like white people trying to like be weeaboos.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly they're like appropriating the culture, and it's supposed to be like a sort of like play on a trope kind of thing. If you were really obsessed with anime, you were most likely associated with those people, regardless of who you were. And that was something that you didn't really want to like be known as, because people are making fun of that, and like later on you realize it's very problematic even if you don't make fun of it. But what's really weird is that just like what Alex says, because I live in a big city, basically I live in the city that holds fanime. And pretty much the whole entire like week of fanime, you would have all these like poster signs comes up, and then you have a bunch of people that you know and maybe you don't even talk to, suddenly they come in with like all the gear, all the cosplay and whatnot. It's like, wow, all these people know anime, and then it kind of disappears. And that kind of felt similar to like after high school, suddenly I go to college, to another Asian dominated college, and there suddenly, if you didn't know what anime was, you were considered to be living under a rock, like regardless of like whether you grew up on it or something. Like suddenly anime is this cool hipster thing where it's like, oh yeah, I watched so and so as a kid, and like it's so amazing and blah blah blah. Like you have all these hipsters that are just talking about like overanalyzing like different like art styles of anime, and like it just gets really weird where, just like Alex says, like we need to bully these people. We need to like bully these people who are not, we need our reparations for being bullied as anime lovers as kids.
We really do.
No.
Let me bull. Well, I don't want to bully anybody, no. But like,
Let's not.
yeah, let's not. We don't advocate bullying here. But like,
Ever.
Just gonna have that disclaimer every episode, aren't we?
Yes.
probably. But like, even today, because what happened today was a great example of like how big anime has gotten. So my best friend is very much into J fashion. If you're not into J fashion or like J rock or anything like that, I highly suggest you looking it up because it's so cool. So many different types. It's beautiful. But anyways, he's in his J fashion clothes, and there's a kid who's 10 to 12 maybe with his mom, and he sees my best friend and he's like, are you cosplaying? And we just looked at him, and he was like, my best friend was like, no, but I do cosplay. And the kid was asking like, oh, what do you cosplay from? And he knew what My Hero Academia was. And like I was just sitting there like, this kid is like 12. How does he know what this is? Like that wasn't even heard of whenever I was 12. Like it's just crazy how much it's changed.
Yeah. It's definitely crazy. Yeah. That was. Sorry for being a little awkward there.
No,
It's all
totally
good.
fine.
We're weebs, so we're supposed to be awkward.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So as I mentioned before, I live in a rather like very populated area in California. So in terms of unpopulated, kind of more out there area of California, Jordan, take us away. What was it like?
Oh, I have like a list of the stuff that I was gonna go through for mine. So I was gonna say like Nexter could talk next, and then
It's surprisingly nerdy here. Like a lot of people are into anime and stuff. Like go like at school, like nobody ever really like picked on me for like an anime or anything. Like a lot of the people there, like all the popular kids all watched it too. So not the same ones, but like, pretty much everybody's into anime. It's weird.
Wow.
Even weirder because we didn't have really any sort of Comic-Cons or anything for years here. Like, I think there was Anime Bonsai or something like that. I don't remember the name exactly. It's still going on though, but for a while that was all we had until like a couple of years ago they made Salt Lake Comic-Con, and it almost immediately became one of the biggest conventions in the whole country.
Oh my gosh.
Like I googled it a minute ago, and it's the 4th largest in the US, and it's only been going for like 7 years, I think.
Dang.
I've been going
Dang.
every year because I'm cool and have money.
Lucky.
Lucky.
We're broke college students.
Yeah,
Dexter,
yeah.
why don't wait? So Jordan can help us with accounting stuff. Dexter, why don't you pay for our expenses and all?
Okay.
You're so rich.
Woo! I'm the rich friend.
Okay, we're gonna need to have like a full schedule. If everyone can send me like some information about like if they're particular of what situation they're okay with when rooming at next conventions, that'd be great.
Well, yeah, we need to go to a convention together.
Mm.
Which
Even
one?
long.
We'll have a panel where we'll do a live episode of our podcast.
That'd be cool. Unfortunately, my best friend literally wants to make a career out of cosplay, so I probably already have a roomed book, but I have no problem going to a convention with all of you and visiting.
Aw.
I'm gonna say this now because while I'm thinking about it, my state's Comic-Con is in June. And y'all, if y'all want to go to it, y'all can stay at my house. I have plenty of room. Or
Ooh.
plenty of room.
Nice.
I have a futon and bunk beds and air mattresses.
This would actually be a really interesting thing to talk about because I'm really curious on what you all think about this. How do you all feel about conventions happening right now?
Like,
Great
right-
question.
Context, it's 2021.
Yes,
And the
we're still
pandemic is
involved
going
in
on.
Pandemic.
Still in the middle of pandemic. Vaccines are going to be distributing right now, but it's mostly going to be essential workers, first responders, stuff like that. And as the person who's probably going to be vaccinated after the homeless, it's yeah.
My family, my grandmother and great grandmother have both been vaccinated, but everybody else in the house hasn't, just because, well, we're not at risk,
Mhm.
Right.
so it's not as big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But the nurse in the family has been vaccinated, so
That's good, at least.
That's good.
Yeah.
At least.
she
But,
works
like-
with newborn babies. So yeah.
Aw. But like, what do you guys think about that like happening right now? Do you think it's
I don't feel comfortable.
irresponsible? Like,
It's uncomfortable to say
Yeah.
the least, because like let's face it, we're all even with all of the mandates and stuff like that happening, like the fact that there is a risk of happening, I mean, like I get being in tune with your body and understanding that if I get it, I'm responsible for it, but you're not only taking that into account, but you're also going to be responsible if you're the one spreading it. So there's a lot of thought going into it. I mean, like if you're going to be there and you think like you considered all of that, I mean, like, hey, good for you, I guess, but you still have to think about the risk of others and your effect on them. Even if you don't know, it's a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
yeah, because me and my again, my best friend is a huge cosplayer. Literally all of the conventions he scheduled to go to have been like pushed back to next year. Like even Techo I was talking about, like I don't even think it's going to happen this year, and it was pushed back last year. So it is very much a safety hazard to me personally, having a convention.
Definitely.
I feel like the whole point of convention is you're there to meet people that you may have either never met before or haven't met for so long. And so the fact that we're in a pandemic where we're not really supposed to do that for the sake of safety for everyone, it makes me a little upset that like there are people who are like, let's go anyway, you know, even though there's this thing going on. That being said, like, have you guys heard of like those virtual kind of conventions, like Passion?
I was just about to say, what do you guys think about virtual conventions? Because OhioCon, which is a huge convention in Columbus, Ohio, instead of doing it in person, they had a Discord server and they had it online. So what do you guys think about
that? Seemed interesting.
Yeah.
If it's
Modern
pulled off
problems
well, that
require
sounds
modern
amazing.
solutions.
I've seen like screenshots of like people at those conventions. Like I remember there was one that I went to briefly, Passione Con. I don't know if you guys have heard of Passione.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
To
Like
do that one.
Yeah, they were holding some events, and like I have some of my mutuals who were there, like partly because they were running it, but also partly because they were like there. They would show like pictures of them being at the photo booths, and they would actually hold panels. It was basically kind of similar to what being in a convention is, except it's all in a Zoom meeting / Discord server. And I think it's actually pretty cool, especially like for me, I've actually never been to a convention before. Like I've thought about going to it before the pandemic, but like it was a nice way for me to like understand like what a convention is kind of like and not be overwhelmed by like what's there at a convention. I think they're pretty neat.
They are pretty neat.
Yeah.
I think conventions are great. You need to find like the right one and especially the right people to go to. My advice, I understand it may seem cool, but I live by this now after going to this convention for almost 4 years. Colossal Con is for adults. If you are not 21 and older, I would advise you try not to go. It would be a waste of time because whenever I went, nobody talked to me. It is literally a convention for drinking and clout.
Ooh.
So I get it. It's at Kalahari. It's got a water park. Everybody's in bathing suits having fun. But it's gotten so restricted now. Like, So, but if you do want a fun convention to go to, highly, highly would recommend Techo. It's very fun. Everybody is very welcoming. I've never had a terrible experience there, personally. So, or OhioCon. OhioCon is very nice too, which happens in Columbus, Ohio. Haven't had a bad experience there either.
Nice.
Very nice.
I'll definitely check them out when I can.
Just MS Comic Con, and as far as the website says, as of right now, they are having Comic Con, but that is subject to change.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, because like last year it was open until like 2 weeks beforehand, and they finally closed it. And I got so mad because I really wanted to go. Sometimes we have Anime Con, but I don't know, or Anime Con, but I don't. Let me see if Anime Con is coming here this year.
Doesn't California have a huge convention? I know my friend has mentioned
I'll
it before.
be damned.
Comic
San
Con,
Diego,
I believe,
or-
in San Diego.
There's a whole bunch there.
Yeah, there's like a
More specifically anime related. It's like the largest anime convention in the United States.
Anime Expo?
Yeah,
There
Anime
we
Expo. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where it is, but it is really a large convention. I haven't been, but I hear quite a bit about it.
I think it's in LA.
It sounds like
That
it would
sounds
be.
about right.
Yeah. I mean, like SoCal has a slightly bigger, like kind of like Asian or anime loving community compared to NorCal. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's 100% true that like NorCal is probably one of those places where it's like, do you mind if we go back to the subject of like culture in the areas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was trying to do that to segue to you.
Okay. NorCal is probably like, okay, again, I think I said this in the first episode, but people usually think of like, oh, are you from LA or from like Santa Cruz or San Jose or San Francisco? I'm from a couple of very small towns and small cities in Northern California. So it's where I'm from, we don't usually talk about anime, and sometimes it's like, well, depending on the person, they really don't care. Oftentimes, like, you'd find them as like, oh, okay, or they'd playfully talk about it with you, where they just like joke about it, like at your expense, but it's not like they're hurting you intentionally. Well, except for the people I hung around with, that we'll get to that in a second. But weirdly, in the area, we didn't have like big shops and stuff like that. I think the most that we had for like getting stuff for anime was like comic book shops, fair booths. Like fairs would often have like maybe little cheap stuff like necklaces or keyblades from Kingdom Hearts, and then you'd have Hot Topic. I think, since I actually also explained like previous episode, my first exposure was Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series. That got me curious into Yu-Gi-Oh! The original series, and then what was known as Season 0, which is completely different from the card game aspect, and it was mainly mind games. And so I bought mostly manga from that, and I found it at like Barnes and Nobles or Amazon for $5, which was not that bad. I think in the area that I live in, though, there's not a lot of people who do care really a whole lot about if you watch anime, or at least when I grew up. My brother and I would watch anime together, but he was very much a casual person, and I didn't handle it very well in my own eyes. I mean, like, I was mainly like a giant fangirl in all of the definitions, and I couldn't shut up about it, because I thought like, well, it's amazing. It's something that's really cool, and I think it's really fun to watch. I like the animation, and I had friends that liked it too, but it was to a point where those friends no longer wanted to be around me, and so they threatened to either I watch anime and lose them, or I shut up about it and keep it to myself and just keep being friends with them. So I was given an ultimatum at that point. I wasn't bullied, but I was kind of threatened. And I had to take a break from anime until college, when in college it was much more appreciated than anything else. And you could find larger groups of people online that do like the same things. And that's when I met my current significant other, and he got me into JoJo's, and I was kind of like, is this an anime? And he was like, yeah. And I kind of got excited, because I was like, oh, okay, someone finally I could talk to that's excited about anime like I am. And it kind of started from JoJo's, and then I watched a couple different mainstream animes now, like My Hero Academia, and getting there slowly but surely. And then I got back into the old stuff I used to be in, but I went in more of a casual way, and I kind of became who I am now from it. But we didn't have much of an exposure, and back then and now we have, like, it's so mainstream, even in the small towns now people care. Sorry, that went too deep. That went much deeper than I thought it was gonna go.
No, it's totally fine.
No, it's all good. I mean, this whole episode is about us talking about our experiences with the anime culture growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess sort of question for all of us, like, if, let's say that we've never heard of anime up to like maybe a year ago or something, or before we found TikTok, or I don't know, but like when we got onto TikTok, and we see like how the anime community has like developed online and whatnot, do you think the community that we see now is inviting, or like you would be like, hey, I actually want to join this, or what? I don't, like,
I guess it depends on certain fandoms.
I agree on that. Some fandoms would be extra protective and very much gatekeepy. I would also say it's more depending on the age range.
That too.
Because sometimes I have met teenagers that are so gatekeepy, like 13 and 14-year-olds that are very gatekeepy and more along the lines of very protective. And if you threaten them, even with a disagreement, they see it as an attack. So then they won't be very welcoming unless, like, maybe you're into the same exact thing. But adults, they are so much more inviting and more open to talking about that kind of stuff, and more open to people just enjoying it for what it is.
Cough, cough, my hero. Cough, cough.
Oh my
God.
god, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
My
I
hero.
think with any fandom, you're gonna find good people and you're gonna find bad people. It really depends. I
Mhm.
think as a whole, it can be inviting.
Yeah, agreed.
I will say though, when I first kind of joined the TikTok cosplaying sort of community, like legit, I was thinking, this is gonna be for 1 week. Nobody's gonna see my content, but I'm just gonna post a video saying, hey, I'm gonna do this and I need some help. Like immediately, like I started having like people kind of comment on my video and DMing me being like, hey, here's some advice. And like, I have to admit, like, maybe not everybody got to experience this, but one thing for sure, like, I feel like that was one of the most welcoming things that like I've ever experienced. And like, I just hope that everybody got to like experience that to like some degree or maybe even greater than that, because that's actually really neat for somebody who never has done cosplaying and like has just gone back into anime and whatnot. Have you
Mhm.
guys also had that sort of experience too when you guys joined TikTok?
Yeah.
Honestly, I missed like half this conversation because my cat can't decide if she wants to stay in the room or leave, so I keep having to get up to go open the door for her. I have no idea what we're talking
Cats.
about.
Kind of like the feeling of openness on in our experiences with TikTok versus the beginning of our experiences as into anime.
So for TikTok, like I guess when I first joined, I mean, again, it really depends on fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I ended up catering to a niche of people who were pretty much desperate for more content
Yeah,
of certain
same.
characters.
same.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but then once I like interacted with the Jojo fandom as a whole, there were definitely some bad people, but a majority of it is pretty good.
Mhm.
So as far as like anime community on TikTok, it just really depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much like anything else in life, it just really depends.
It really does. It kind of is. It's very weird to kind of like. First of all, I got introduced mainly from like the dude bro jokes, quote unquote dude bro jokes of like Calculain being donutted.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
same here.
Versus
Mhm.
like when you go to TikTok and they have like a different exposure and you see like people on one side really hating dude bro jokes, and I'm also mutuals of two of those quote unquote dude bros, and I'm dating a dude bro too, so I know like three of those, and it's kind of weird to see the difference between those types of people, and both of them to an extent could be very protective of the types of content that they see, and if they see something that they don't agree with or they see as like an attack, they will retaliate. I've seen multiple points in like fandoms where they will retaliate at each other because they don't like each other's jokes or they disagree, and it will become so volatile. When in reality, it's like we're discussing, like, I'm not trying to minimize it, but we're discussing a TV show that has not real characters, and you're being extremely protective of something that in reality doesn't matter as much as the fact that you're talking to another person and hurting what they enjoy, hurting them for what they enjoy.
I could just imagine you saying that, and then suddenly somebody might even comment and be like, "That's not true." We're already gonna have like an argument on.
I'm going to start arguments just from talking about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to discuss the fact that we're looking at some things that we really enjoy, but we have to step back and realize like how protective we are of the types of media that we consume. Because like in reality, what are you more concerned about? Are you concerned about the character and the jokes that you're making, or are you concerned about the fact that you're attacking another person based on these jokes?
Yeah, I've had that happen to me personally, and it's one of the reasons I will never get into Naruto, Like, I just won't, because the fans have ruined it so much for me because they're such gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I did one casual cosplay with a Team 7 casual group cosplay on Halloween this past year. My friend made a TikTok about it, which was just us sitting there eating ramen to Naruto music. We uploaded it, and my gosh, the amount of people who were just like, you guys suck, your cosplays suck, it looks like Walmart Naruto. I mean, it got so bad to the point where people were threatening us. And it was like, this was a 15-second video of a casual group cosplay that we put together in 4 hours, I think. And like, it was Halloween. We were enjoying time eating ramen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't really like, so it just, yeah, don't gatekeep people, because
Yeah.
you will literally turn people away from the thing you enjoy, and that's not the point of anime. I think the point of anime is to calmly introduce it to somebody and say, hey, I would like to talk with you about this, and I would like for you to join me on this. Like, isn't that the whole point of just anything in life, to introduce people to something you enjoy and allow it to grow?
That I 100,000% agree with you, Alex. That is one of the most important things.
Mhm.
Is that gatekeeping ruins a lot of potential in someone enjoying something as a genuine thing. Like, I would also bring up like toxic things a fandom does that ruins people's experience in it. One of my mutuals, Jay Meemstar, he did amazing My Hero Academia content. He was a Bakugo cosplayer. He was one of those people who would like casually make like ship content of like Kiribaku. And he was kind of just a cool kind of dude, just casual, kind of nice. And he's quote unquote one of the dude bros, but he's more along the lines of just a casual kind of person. Like, hey, jokes of all kind are great as long as they don't hurt someone. There were some things of the, have you guys ever heard of the Kachan We Were 5 audio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
It was that audio that pushed him away from the fandom. And it was people who were egging it on, the fact that it was like, oh my God, look at this, give it this attention. It was that attention type of thing that ruined people's experience, especially his experience. And he threw away his Bakugo cosplay. He sold a bunch of his like merchandise from it. And now he's trying to introduce himself back slowly into it. But it was really tainted at that point with people being so toxic in the fandom by what they did and not towards other people. So it's just kind of what some people do.
Yeah. Honestly, stuff like that is kind of why I ended up leaving the Hitalia fandom eventually.
Yeah.
I will say, going back to like what Alex mentioned about like the Naruto fandom, and by the way, I'm so sorry if like we end up having Naruto fans attacking us for just talking about this.
I don't care. I
I
really
We're gonna get canceled on our second episode.
Play the apology clip. Play the apology clip.
No, if there's anything you need to know about me, it is I am blunt and I do not apologize for words. So y'all Naruto fans can attack me all you want. I don't care.
I will be honest, I never really understood the hype of Naruto.
Me neither.
I will say, like, I mentioned this earlier, Naruto was kind of the first anime that I watched that got me into like anime in general. And I actually remember that video that I believe you posted about like you dressing up as Kakashi, and like at that time I was debating on like what other like fandoms I should cosplay on, because I was just mainly doing JoJo, partly because that's my thing. Like, I prefer to concentrate on one type of fandom than the other. And I think that was like a rude wake-up call for me to realize that how bad, in a sense, like gatekeeping can get, because up until this point, you know, I've just in my little bubble, trying not to cause trouble, like everybody's being supportive, oh, this is all good. And then seeing those mean comments like on your video, and it really broke my heart, mainly because Naruto was in a sense like quote unquote my first love in terms of anime. But I think that seeing that kind of also made me like a little bit worried about cosplaying from other fandoms now too. Like I don't know if you guys noticed, but like the fandoms that I cosplay from are either like really small or like ones where everybody's just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, you can just like laze it off or something. And as much as I want to go into like other fandoms and cosplay those other fandoms, like just the idea of like there are these people who are going to be going in there, like doing that kind of terrifies me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely an experience for about 3 hours of our lives. It was just like, oh no. If there's anything I will agree with in the Naruto fandom, Kakashi is hot. I won't lie. The white-haired boys get me, okay? They really do. But
There's something
I will
everyone
not
can agree
spend.
on.
But I will not spend 300 plus episodes on an anime for just one man who is probably not in even 2/3 of the show.
Mm-hmm.
The show's not about him.
I like how you're into like white-haired boys who have like sort of reddish eyes and like are considered to be like the sort of leader.
Be quiet, you. We'll get there for the next episode.
We'll get there for the Valentine's Day. Are we also going to talk about ships and stuff like that in the Valentine's Day episode?
Probably.
Probably.
Everybody.
Because that's a topic I'd like to segue from this episode about the toxicity in fandoms and talk about ship content.
Oh, sure.
Like that there are some awful things that
Cross
shippers
that
do.
bridge when we get to it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this has been very interesting. I've actually learned like kind of a lot like on like what anime or the anime community for you guys was like growing up. Because like, you know, me being my little bubble, I never really phantomed like the idea of like nobody actually knows what anime is or everybody knows what anime is or something like that. And so that was really nice hearing from you guys.
Yeah, it was. It was really cool to get to know like that part of our lives.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so important to learn about that kind of stuff from people around you. It's just kind of like our exposure and how that kind of shaped us as people.
Mm-hmm.
My advice to everybody is
Don't
get
be a jerk.
into
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, don't be a jerk, and also do your best to branch outside of the popular animes as well, because that's something I was going to mention about the TikTok thing. The TikTok anime community is very, very much what's popular.
Yes.
And if you stick to what's popular, you are going to miss out on some really, really good shows. And yes, I get it. The 90s, early 2000 animes, their art style is very jarring, but my gosh, some of it is fantastic. So surround yourself with good people. Don't bully. And
Anybody want to recommend some less popular animes for all our viewers this week?
Danganronpa.
Yes, that is a very unpopular one. I never heard of it.
Yeah, what is Danganronpa?
What is
I know what this is.
Oh my god. Okay, so basically, how do I even describe this? It's basically a bunch of high schoolers that are like the best at their profession. So like the ultimate baseball player is one, the ultimate pop star, so on and so forth. And they're stuck in a high school, and like the whole premise of the show is that they have to kill each other to get free. And it's like class trials, and if the killer gets caught, the killer dies in something themed to what they're like specialized in. And then if the killer doesn't get caught, everybody else dies and the killer goes free. It's also
understand
a bunch of video games. It's a lot of video games.
It's a lot of video games. Plus, there's like the first season of it on Hulu. Which I think it's the first season goes along with Trigger Happy Havoc.
Yeah,
which is
that's the name of it. Is Trigger Happy Havoc.
I forgot what the second and third game is, but I only remember from the second game is Gundam Tanaka.
That
Um,
I know that soundbite as well, and it makes me laugh.
I only know that name, and that's all I know about it.
I love him so much. I don't know much about the second game, but I love him so much.
Other animes to recommend that are not popular. Okay,
Mob
so
Psycho 100.
Killing Harmony,
Yes.
it's Danganronpa, Killing Harmony, Trigger Happy Havoc, and then there's the Danganronpa Girls, which is Genocide or Show, and Nayagi's sister. I can't remember her name.
Have you guys heard of Dororo?
Yes.
I have,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
haven't
I've been
gotten
meaning
into
to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, it's actually pretty nice. Like I feel like it's starting to become a popular kind of series on TikTok, but like I don't think it's at that level of popularity yet, but it's so cool. Like it's really cool. You guys should check that out. I guess that's my contribution for under
many-
animes, but I'm not even sure.
How many of us have heard of One Punch Man?
Oh,
Yes.
I love that
Yeah,
show.
that's
Gosh.
yeah.
The same author of One Punch Man does a series called Mob Psycho 100, which I highly
I
recommend.
need to
if you
watch
love
that.
JoJo's, you'll love Mob Psycho.
Wait, they're written by the same dude?
Yep.
Yep.
Huh. I've been meaning
Great.
to watch it. Now I got more of a reason to.
It's a great show. It brings in some of my favorite characters, which one of them is named Reagan. Reagan is a con man psychic, and he brings in a child. He brings in kind of like a student worker that's also interested in the supernatural realm, who is an actual psychic.
Nice.
That's really nice.
If you like JoJo openings, you're gonna love Mob Psycho openings.
Ooh.
I'm gonna add that to my list now.
All
I
you
think-
guys are. Oh. What were you
Go
saying?
ahead.
All you guys are recommending ones that I've heard a little bit about, and then I was just gonna recommend one I don't know if anybody here has actually ever heard of.
What is
Lay
it?
it on us.
Polar Bear Cafe.
Oh,
I have never.
It's about a polar bear that runs a cafe.
cafe.
Aw.
It's very cute. I love it very much. I've only watched like one season of it, but it's very cute.
I think for me, what I would recommend, I have a few. If you definitely know about Sailor Moon, but you also happen to like ballerinas with really, really good story, it's called Princess Tutu.
Princess Tutu.
My gosh, beautiful, mwah, gorgeous animation, mwah. Just it is a beautiful cinematic masterpiece that y'all should understand the complexity of.
Mhm.
Another one that I would recommend is Wolf's Rain.
Mm-hmm.
Is very much, I don't want to say it's a slice of life, but it's like a very chill, adventurous, and I mean it's got wolves in it. I assume it has rain. I know it has snow in it, but it's a very interesting show to watch. And lastly, if you like My Hero Academia, I will recommend to you the anime that walked that allowed my hero to run, and it is called Tiger and Bunny.
I am
Wow.
interested now.
I feel like I've seen a little bit of that, but I don't
Tiger
remember.
and Bunny walked so my hero could run, and it is so good.
After this recording, Alex, I would love to talk to you more about My Hero Academia.
Absolutely.
Oh wait, guys, I have one more anime for us to recommend that's totally underrated and like everybody should watch it because it deserves way more fans.
Yes.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, you're right. I've never heard of
Absolutely.
it. What is this anime you speak of?
Ooh, what is
Well,
the show?
Okay, so JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is about a guy named Jojo and he goes on a bizarre adventure.
Sounds bizarre.
That's bizarre. And I heard that they're going to come out with this new season. Apparently it's called the Squadron OVA, but I'm not sure.
That is currently a
I
rumor.
was expecting you to say Stone Ocean, and I don't know which of those I'd be more excited for, honestly.
I will say the Rohan OVAs are coming to Netflix here soon.
They're coming out on the 18th, and I'm so excited. Oh my
Yes.
god. I've seen the live action, like the first 3 episodes of the live action Rohan Kishibe,
Ooh.
and oh my god.
I need to watch
showed-
that still.
Mwah. It's Poco Translations on YouTube has full episodes.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like how we watch illegal downloads of anime on YouTube, you're still doing it now.
Well, it's not anime if it's live action.
I mean, you're right.
I was really hoping Carri nobody would bring up JoJo's, because to me, I 100% agree that JoJo fans need to calm down a
Oh,
little bit.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No one's
All
gonna
of us will
disagree
agree
on
here,
that.
JoJo's is amazing, but I will be the one to say it is a very peculiar taste. You have been warned.
If you
yeah,
get into it, you can't get out of it, and that's the problem.
Only
There's
people with an IQ of over 200 can understand the complexity and beauty of
Are you comparing JoJo's
Yeah.
to Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
No.
I will say that if you are someone who has a peculiar taste in animation, JoJo's will be a kind of a hard one to kind of get used to, because the animation has quite if you like big buff men, and specifically big buff men, you're gonna like the show.
We'll
lot.
talk more about big buff men in next episode.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we will.
We will. Well,
Correct.
anyways, that's it for today for our episode here on the WeeBS Show. Thank you guys so much for joining in on our show. And as you can probably tell, next episode we're gonna go into the world of love.
Oh,
Oh,
Ooh.
why'd you say it like that?
I don't know why I said it like that.
Kiss, kiss, fall in love.
Kiss, kiss, fall.
That'll be our intro for
No,
next episode. We just
we
play
don't want to
that.
get copyrighted, please.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Will we get copyrighted if we just do a really bad cover of it?
Yeah.
Kiss, kiss, let's all simp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kiss, kiss, catch these hands.
There are children listening to this.
About
There better not be children.
Be gone, children. Go grow up.
Be gone. Thought.
Hey, we can't call kids thoughts. That's wrong.
you don't know what thought
18
means,
plus.
right?
Be gone, kitties.
I was. You guys know what thought stands for, right?
That hoe over there.
Yes.
Oh, it does?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it means. That's a thought.
Now I know.
But yeah, see you guys next time on the WeeBS podcast. Bye.
Bye.